Hi everybody, I'm Griffin with Electric Bike Report, and today I have with me the Lectric XP Lite. This is the follow-up bike to Lectric's immensely popular XP 2.0, and thanks to its sub $1,000 price point, it is one of the most affordable e-bikes that EBR has ever recommended. To find out what it is we like so much about it, stick with us as we walk you through our testing and review. All right, so as we dive into our overview of the Lectric XP Lite, the bottom line here is this is an e-bike that is great for just about anybody. Thanks to how affordable this bike is, it's something we can easily recommend for parents who are looking for something for their kids, for the e-bike curious, or for those who are looking to buy several e-bikes at once. The affordable price point is something that we love to see because quite frankly, the market is saturated with a lot of e-bikes that are so cheap, we don't feel comfortable testing and reviewing them, let alone recommending them. We get a lot of questions from our audience about Amazon and Alibaba bikes, but we don't even want to know the compromises necessary to achieve a $500 e-bike when the motor and battery alone often can run $500. So for this one to come in a couple $100 under that $1,000 price point is a real achievement, and we give Lectric serious kudos for doing that. Not only that, but it follows a lot of what the Lectric XP 2.0, this bike's big brother, did so well. They kept a lot of the essentials that make an e-bike fun and great, and it all kind of starts with that motor and battery. It is a smaller motor and battery than the 2.0, but it's been fine-tuned to optimize this bike at Class 2 speeds, and it really is a great ride. Now, not only did they save some money compared to its big brother, the XP 2.0, but they also shaved off a lot of weight. They shaved off nearly 17 pounds from the other bike, which is a big deal when we're talking about the portability of folding e-bikes. Getting something like this in and out of the trunk is a lot easier compared to some other folders that come in at 50 or 60 pounds even. This one's very easy to move around, easy to store under a desk, and easy to just take it with you and go. You'll also notice some of the saved weight there makes a big difference in the handling. We'll dive into that more a little bit later on in our handling section. But not only that, but Lectric's also given you something here that does have options, does make it so you can tailor it a little bit more to your experience. This bike comes in 4 different color choices. Right here we have the Lectric Blue. They also have a black, white, and sandstorm option. They're all good looking bikes, and not something I would actually expect for something that comes in at this low of a cost. Usually they take away options, not give you more, but that's something that they introduced with this bike is 4 different colorways. Now, rounding out some of the other notable features on this bike would include, of course, that 300 watt rear hub motor, the 374 watt hour battery, the LCD display there in the middle of the handlebars, and the single speed drivetrain. We're gonna dive into these more in depth throughout our testing and review. And if you need to know more from the spec sheet standpoint of this bike, we're gonna leave a link in the description below where we will detail all the specs of this bike back on our website. All right, now with all the e-bikes that we review, we put them through our standard series of tests. So for the Lectric XP Lite, we started with the braking test. Now for the EBR brake test, what we do is we take this bike up to 20 miles per hour multiple times, and then we brake. What we do is we then measure the distance to see how long it took to stop to get an idea of the average stopping capabilities of this e-bike. So let's go ahead and show you now how it performed in our brake test. So with the data we got from that showed us that this bike stops an average just around 21 feet. All in all, it's a pretty good stopper. It even did better than in the XP 2.0 that we tested a few months back. I do think that the brakes that it's equipped with, the mechanical disc brakes with 160mm rotors, all in all provides adequate stopping power, and I think most people are going to be right at home when using the brakes on this bike. Now, we also put the XP Lite through 2 separate range tests. Now, the range test we do here, we do one on its maximum pedal assist setting, see how far it'll go when you're using full motor capabilities. And we do another one at a pedal assist setting that feels like an e-bike, but still conserves the battery range. So the results we got on this were between 16 and 35 miles, which is a phenomenal result considering the battery they've spec'd this with. This is a 48 volt, 7.8 amp hour battery or 374 watt hour battery. Now, Lectric did a very conscientious and smart design choice when they made the XP Lite here, I think. The 300 watt motor with a 374 watt hour battery means that you should be seeing at least an hour or more of ride time when you're out there, even when you're using full motor capabilities. Now, its big brother, the XP 2.0, It was actually a 500 watt motor paired with a 461 watt hour battery, meaning you wouldn't get a full hour of ride time if you're using full bore pedal assist. So this one is actually very good. I think 15 to 35 miles is going to be great for most commuters out there. And since this bike is so affordable, it's actually very easy to talk yourself into buying a second battery, which Lectric will sell you online. For $250, you can double the range of this bike, no problem. And since it's a 7-pound battery, it's actually fairly light and fairly easy to carry with you if you do have any range anxiety. So the next test that we put the XP Lite through was our circuit test. Now the EBR circuit is a lap of about 1 mile with 4 right-hand turns and a small 30-foot climb. What we like to do on this test is we see, number one, how fast the bike goes when you are having no motor assistance at all, and then the average mile per hour of each level of pedal assist 1 through 5. Now, as we're riding around, we're also looking to see how the motor engages, how it feels, and just the overall thoughts and impressions we have in terms of ride quality as we go. Now, as far as the speed breakdown, we got around 13 miles per hour with no assistance, and then it slowly made small jumps through the first couple pedal assists, and then it made more significant jumps in level 4 and level 5, up to 19.2 miles per hour. Now, that is a really good result and a testament to how good this motor is. A lot of people will write off a motor when they see something like 300 watts because there's a lot out there that are 500 or 750 watts, but you absolutely shouldn't with this one. An average speed of 19.2 miles per hour on a max 20 mile per hour bike means that this thing got up to speed and held it very well on the circuit. Not only that, but in each different pedal assist setting, the bike felt good and comfortable on the roads. The handling is pretty good. The 2.6-inch wide tires on this felt very good and very stable at slower and at faster speeds. And all in all, the motor engagement was pretty solid for this cadence sensor right here. Usually between 1 or 2 cranks of the pedals is usually when it would kick in, but when it did engage, it never tried to buck you off the back. It kept you in a smooth acceleration, and you were very stable the entire time. All in all, pretty good results from our circuit test. All right, now we want to take you through the bike's cockpit and just the overall handling and feel of the XP Lite. So with the handlebar, what you'll notice is it comes with a set of kind of harder rubber grips that are very good, and your hands rest comfortably on them with good enough traction. On the left-hand side here, you have the pedal assist controller where you can increase and decrease your pedal assist setting. Here in the dead center of the handlebar, we have the LCD screen, which is nice and bright and gives you all your essential information, such as the 10-bar battery readout, the miles per hour, what pedal assist you are in, as well as your odometer. You've got a few other options that you can cycle through as well as you press the power button there that will show you trip distance and voltage output on the battery. And then on the right-hand side, you'll notice the twist grip throttle for engaging that so that you can ride around without having to pedal if you should so choose. Now you'll also notice the brake levers up front as well. They're your standard brake levers. They are tested and true and reliable. And then overall, it's a fairly comfortable ride considering that it is a rigid front fork. So as you do ride out on the roads, it holds up pretty well. If you go over some bumpier things, you'll notice a little bit of vibration that does come up through your hands. But all in all, I didn't find it to be particularly uncomfortable or comfortable. It's somewhere right there in the middle, and I think that'll serve folks just fine. You can always swap out the grips. They're the easiest component on a bike to replace if they're just not for you. Now, all in all, the comfort of this bike is actually pretty apparent. It adjusts well to most riders. This is a telescoping handle post, so you can raise and lower those bars as needed, as well as with the seat. It's got a fairly low step over height, so it makes it very accessible for most people to hop on and off, no problem or no difficulty. Now, with any folding e-bike, we pay very close and careful attention to that latch there in the middle. Reason being is since this bike has been essentially split in half, put back together with a hinge, we like to see a very rigid frame, and I can happily report that the XP Lite is very good. It's a very solid frame. I didn't notice any extra flexing or anything like that. Now, it does have a front rigid fork, as I mentioned before. That is a change up from the XP 2.0, which that does help save both weight and cost, which is great, which is part of the reason this bike is so affordable. Now, again, to hit home on this point, XP, they called it the Lite for a reason. It is very lightweight, and you really do notice that difference when you're riding around on a 47-pound e-bike versus the average, which is 55 to 60 pounds that we typically see. It's much more nimble. It's very easy to maneuver on and off the bike, and just makes it for overall good experience. Now, since this bike is so lightweight, it is highly portable, and it's one of the best features about it. So we're gonna go ahead and demonstrate how quickly you can fold this bike down by starting at this latch here at the frame, and then the one up here on the handles as well. And then once you have it in this position, you just kind of put your knee into the frame a little bit, and then you're able to pull the bike together just like that. And then it has a little stand down here that it will rest on. You can even lower the seat, which will give you better clearance, and it adds a contact point as well, as the seat post comes all the way out to the ground down there. Now, this is at 46 pounds, a very light folding e-bike, but you can shave off a little bit of extra weight by removing the battery as well, by just pushing up on the key located underneath the frame. And then from there, you're able to slide that battery out, and you go from a 46-pound e-bike to a 39-pound e-bike that would fit easily into the back of your car. It comes with this little handle right here on the frame, and then if you take that and grab it by either the fork or the wheel, it lifts up super simply, and you can put it wherever you need to. And our final test is the hill climb test. Now, EBR has a beloved hill that has been dubbed Hellhole. It is 1/3 of a mile long and roughly a 12% grade. Now, that is a very extreme hill. It is not the standard or typical hill that you're usually gonna find on most commutes, so it really puts these bikes to the limit. So we're curious to see how that 300-watt motor will stack up against something of this size. So let's go ahead and show you the results of the hill test.
Okay, now we got the Lectric XP Lite. This is gonna be the throttle only hill test up Hellhole. Let's see how it does. I'm pretty interested to see how this one climbs. It's a really compact bike that's sub $1,000, really good value, and it's surprisingly comfortable. So we'll see how this little guy climbs. So again, I'm about 180 pounds, hitting this pretty steep section down to 9. You can see it's starting to struggle here a little bit, but that is not to be unexpected, given the weight of this bike, the motor, and the steepness of this hill. Let's see if we can make it. Generally around 3 miles per hour, we call it. Let's go, little guy! Oh! You know, it's still actually balanced at 2.7, so I might keep it going for a second here. Like, I don't think this would take advanced skills to balance and keep this going, so I'm gonna extend this a little bit. But for all intents and purposes, this thing's pretty much done. Made it about halfway up. So all in, not too bad from the Lectric XP Lite. Again, that's throttle only, not something you'd normally ride up with just the throttle. Okay, this is Lectric XP Lite hill test with pedal assist. Again, I've got a passenger 5, and we're gonna see how this goes. It is a single gear bike. It's a smaller bike, so I'm actually not expecting this to go up this hill. Again, this is Hellhole. We call it Hellhole for a reason, but let's see how we do. It did not make it up the throttle. So let's see if it makes it up with the pedal assist. Yeah, so here we go. Definitely doing much better than the throttle, which is to be expected. I've got the seat a little low, which may actually hurt it here. But so far I haven't needed to stand, and I can comfortably make it up at this point. Dropping down to 9 miles, 8 miles. This is through the steepest section. But I actually think this is gonna make it. And again, it's a single gear, so I can't shift or anything. And my seat is way low, but it's making it pretty good. So lowest I got there was 7.5-ish. Have to check the tape. But yeah, surprisingly, has quite a bit of juice for this little guy. Last little section here. So yeah, slowed down, but it definitely does make it. Climbs it pretty well. Might partially be due to the fact that it is a lighter weight bike. Yeah, the XP Lite definitely has enough juice to make it up here. enough torque, enough power, and that was fairly comfortable. If I was riding this all the time, I for sure would have raised the seat, which would have made that hill climb even easier. But great job, XP Lite.
All right, so the results that we got from our hill test were on throttle only, the bike did not make it up the hill. However, I do need to give it some kudos. We're gonna circle back to that one. Now on pedal assist level 5, it did make it up the hill in about 1 minute and 30 seconds with a 10 mile per average speed. Now that is a very admirable performance from a bike with a 300 watt motor. We've seen a lot of bikes that come spec'd with 500 watt rear hub motors that sometimes they don't even make it up the hill, or they don't make it up the hill well. This one climbed a lot better than my expectations kind of had for it. And even on the throttle only portion, it nearly cleared it, just barely not making it past that second steep pitch, which is kind of the widowmaker. If something's gonna fail, that's where it's gonna fail. But the fact that it was doing so well, there wasn't any audible noise that we could really feel, there wasn't any vibration. It was very steady as it just kind of kept chugging along up the hill. Now, I love to see that here because I think a lot of people who are skeptical of the XP Lite, it'll come down to that motor and that battery, but that just kind of proves that it is a motor that's been very dialed in and can still be a great performer even at that smaller wattage. All right, to wrap up this review of the Lectric XP Lite, it really is just a fun, affordable, and well put together e-bike. We have to give serious kudos to the team at Lectric for coming up with something like this that really checks off all the boxes that people are looking for in the e-bike experience, but being able to deliver it for under $1,000 is seriously awesome. We can't say enough how much we like that lightweight, how portable it is, how easy it is to recommend to the sedan driving crowd this bike because it's something you can fold and put in your trunk and take it with you wherever you go. Also, if you're tight on space at home, it does fold down pretty compactly. You can put it under a desk, you can put it in a closet, no problem at all. I do think that this bike is great for just about anybody. It's going to be particularly great for people looking to stick to a budget, for people shopping for kids, or really just anyone who wants to have something they can take with them and explore wherever it is they go. In truth, I'm struggling to come up with any sort of meaningful con for this e-bike. That's not to say that it's a perfect bike by any means, but anything that I would change or improve, I don't think is actually possible while maintaining the price point where this bike is at. Everything else would just add more to the cost, and I actually love that they have something that is this affordable that the average consumer can easily buy. Do I wish that I could take the key out and not have to ride around with it? Yes. Do I wish that I had something that would keep it clamped down and folded for me? Yes. But at the end of the day, those are all nitpicky things that I don't think should be a deterrent to getting this bike. It's just a well done and well put together e-bike that I think is going to be appealing to lots of different people for many different reasons. Now, if you found this review helpful, please do give us a thumbs up down below. If you haven't yet, do subscribe to the Electric Bike Report channel, and you can head to the written review from the link that we'll put in the description below to get all the details and go back through the data that we collected while reviewing this bike. Again, I'm Griffin with Electric Bike Report, and we'll see you on the next review.